It looks like you have a race car here. What are we looking at?
This is a tribute car for the Butcher Brothers from Wilmington, Illinois. They did well for such a small team. They raced on the stock formula cars. The Indianapolis 500 ran from 1930 to 1935. They opened a field up to big stock cars that could run about the same speeds as the famous Miller cars. So this is a tribute car. The boys did well in 1930. They finished 14th place and won $650. So in 1931, they took the money and bought the new 8-cylinder Buick that just came out, and then qualified at about 100 in 1931. They ran much faster. Unfortunately, somebody got out of shape, and Harry had a swerve to miss him. He went right through the wall and totaled the car. Not over the wall, it went right through the wall. So these are surviving parts, and it's a tribute to those boys who took their wrecked family Buick they had out behind their garage and took the body off and raced the frame and an engine drivetrain with a home-built body. And they did very, very well for just low-budget racers.
Well, it's pretty awesome that it has some parts from the original race car.
The engine, as you can see, is the one went through the wall.
Mm-hmm.
See the broken.
Oh yeah, where they welded it and fixed it.
Yeah, that's all that survived.
So that's a straight 8.
Mm-hmm.
How much horsepower does that have?
With the new carburetor, pushing 150.
150.
Yeah.
All right. And so let's look at the driver controls here. Is that a true representation of what the...
Yeah, real typical. What's been changed here is originally had a foot starter pedal, and with the body being cut down, it's like there's no room for your feet. So that's been moved up to the top, and this lever right here under the dash starts the thing.
The one you pull out there.
You actually push it in. And
you push it in.
It'll crank it right over, and it has the magneto switches. Mm-hmm. The speedometer is typical about what they would have used. Sometimes they would turn them sideways so they could read them better going around in a circle. Tachometer is an updated version that's actually 12 volts with an increaser that lets it run on 6. Okay, the steering box is original. All the boys did was to cut it loose and bring it down, mm-hmm. and create new attachments for it here, and then weld themselves a good solid fixture for that. It has an enormous 15-inch brake drum, so it will stop well. The cars, these Buick cars did well. They used to advertise them can run all day at 65. Wow. And if you give it them right, they just knew what to do. You need not bring your Model 8 to that race, but these Buicks, Duesenbergs, Packards, Pontiacs, all the big cars could race in those stock classes.
It's amazing, and I bet you don't have to go very fast in it to feel like you're going fast.
It's a comfortable car to drive. I drive it around my acres just to test it. I have some other race cars that are safer to drive. Those I run those on the track. This is just a fun car for the acres.
And of course, that's the bolt tail rear end, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, this was all built with a body buck from all the surviving photos. A good friend of mine, Bill Davis, helped me create all the wooden body bucks that let us shape the steel to know. Indianapolis Speedway photo archives provided us with good on-track pictures that helped us create this sweep. Yeah. And because it can be difficult if you don't have a dead-on picture. So it's very authentic as it is.
How long did it take you?
3 summers.
3 summers. You know what? It is beautiful. You've done a great job. It's very striking, the color, and I bet you just have the greatest smile on your face when you're driving that.
I do. It's fun to drive. We know all the surviving photos are black and white, but thank you very much. The Indianapolis record keepers told us in their records what color the cars were. It was orange. Okay. So we're good with that.
Well, thank you. It looks great, and thanks for talking to us.
Okay, sure enough.
Yeah.
representing Western Michigan Formula Racing. And what we do is we build an open-wheel Formula-style race car to compete at a competition every year at Michigan International.
Yeah, so we've been able to reuse our front wing elements for the past couple years. They've been rather successful, and we've seen minor tweaks and improvements in performance over this past cycle of this wing element. Yeah, so for the rear wing, this is the main part of the car, the aero package that we're reiterating every single year. Biggest difference is going to be the rear end plates. Those are usually changed up every year to fit changes in geometry to the rear subframe. As you see, we years past went to just panels bolted on with metal linkages to the rear subframe, but we found between our CFD simulations for airflow and FEA in general, it's overall a superior product to go with structural end plates. Lets us continue the end plates down to the rear subframe. Really helps to improve and clean up airflow up around the rear of the car instead of being going all janking, producing drag and turbulence off all those linkages. The structural end plates force the air to follow through to the rear, keeping the airflow attached and improving downforce and cleaning up the airflow off the back of the car.
I'm going to talk a little bit about our driver controls and some of our safety systems. So I guess I can kind of work from rear to front. We've got, starting at the rear, braking system is, if I remember correctly, a 4140 drilled brake rotor with a Willwood brake caliper. Moving on up to the front, we have a one-off in-house designed nylon CFRP, carbon reinforced nylon steering wheel with a connector in hub connector so that we can run all of our nice paddle shifters and our lights and indicators for the driver through the wheel without having some cable hanging out past the wheel, potentially catching on the driver and making it unsafe. The paddle shifters I already mentioned are there to operate our sequential gearbox. So it is a motorcycle engine. So what that means is there's no synchronizers in order to match speed between your gears. So if you were to shift, all you need to do is unload the transmission. So you can do that either by backing off the throttle if you want to do it manually, or you can automate it and just have a short spark cut. So we're actually able to complete a shift in about 80 milliseconds by using our paddle shifting system. Moving forward, you can't really see it, but we actually have something fairly interesting, which is a 2-foot operation with our driving. So we actually brake with our left foot and accelerate with the throttle with our right foot. And what that does is it cuts out some time when you're braking into a corner. It allows you to immediately apply the brake after lifting, and you can actually start to apply the brake to transfer weight even before you fully lift it off the throttle. That really helps with how technical our courses are. We have very close linked corners where you're always accelerating, always braking, always cornering. So you want to be able to avoid flapping your feet around in the driver compartment and potentially missing a control motion. Clutch is actually a hand clutch, which people find a little weird. If you're used to like a quad or a motorcycle, it'll feel normal. But for people who are used to a car, having the brake on your left foot, throttle on your right, and your left hand operating the clutch, that can be a little weird, and we'll have a little bit of a tough time with training new drivers. But it all becomes pretty intuitive after a little while. We try to keep it simple. We're all just students, we're all amateurs, we're all trying to learn, so we try to keep everything simple and keep it easy to use.